Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be providing a longer term market analysis on Uniswap Bitcoin, Uniswap USD, going over some key support resistance levels and overall my thoughts going into the next few months. So if you enjoy the content, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. So I'm going to start off here on the Uniswap Bitcoin pair, and I really like this pair because it shows us which asset is outperforming which asset, and ideally we want our altcoins to be outperforming Bitcoin. So you can see for a long period of time Uniswap was basically just bleeding against Bitcoin, but we've had some sort of longer term shift here where we have this double bottom in place. We're starting to get back up above some of these lower highs, and the RSI is getting back above the 50 level. So in my last video, I talked about this around this time frame where we were really starting to get back above the 50 point. And I said this was a good thing because, it was signifying that the bear trend was starting to weaken. And I really like the RSI for identifying the strength and weakness of trends. And I think a lot of people misuse it because they say, when it's at these oversold levels, that means it's a good thing, it's a buy. But, we can stay oversold for a very long period of time. We really started being oversold here back in September of last year. So that was about a 40-week period where, we were just oversold. We were getting deeper and deeper oversold. And that's why people like to misuse it, right? They say we're oversold, so that's a good sign. But you could have obviously pointed to that back in March, and then you could say the same thing back in April and so on. But, we're starting to get back above 50. We're starting to get back up into the overbought territory, which is a great sign. It's showing us that this bear market trend is starting to weaken, and we're really starting to see a trend reversal. We're getting back up into these overbought territories where, really it's the same thing where we could spend a prolonged period of time in this overbought territory, really starting to get back up to some of these higher valuations. So I talked about this again in my last video where we've just been breaking this downward sloping resistance. Any way you want to draw it, we have broken this downtrend and we're starting to target some of these macro lower highs. The most notable one being this one back in January. This one's sticking out to me. We had basically this 5-6 week pattern where we had this correction back up and then got rejected off this moving average. So this moving average is the 20 period average, and essentially we've had support and resistance off this level. You can see another rejection here back in September, and we flipped that. So that is a great sign. We're getting back above these moving averages, back above some of these lower highs, key support and resistance levels, and the RSI is starting to get back into the overbought territory. So for me, this is looking really, really good. But ideally, what I want to see is a correction back down and printing some sort of macro higher low. So what that would look like, whether it be a correction from here or in a few weeks, I really just want to see some sort of retest of some of these levels to really signify that we have a definitive new trend in place. So what that would look like, again, is we have the double bottom and then a higher low on the weekly. So I'm going to switch over here to Ethereum Bitcoin, which is a great study of what a longer term trend reversal looks like. So I'm going to just remove all these drawings real quick, and we can see the same thing where we had this longer term downtrend. Ethereum was really underperforming Bitcoin. We transitioned into the double bottom, and then from there we just really printed these higher lows. So that's essentially what I want to see with Uniswap. We're kind of at this point where I think we might be reaching some sort of correction where, again, we've made a higher high, but we want to come back down, retest, form a higher low, and then from there we can start trending back up. So that's kind of what I'm looking out for a longer term thesis, and I really want to see that because it would make the trend a lot stronger. It would look a lot better here because it would give us a little bit more confirmation, because the current rate of change of this move is a little bit high. I don't like how we're just kind of moving up in this monotonic fashion where we're just going pretty straight up. And the current rate of change is a little unsustainable, right? We really can't sustain a move that is going up this quick. So that's just kind of my thoughts here. I want to see some sort of correction back down, that higher low, and then we can trend up from there. And again, we have the double bottom, similar to the Ethereum Bitcoin pair, printing that higher low, and then eventually that higher high. That's kind of what I'm looking for a longer term trend reversal. Again, I still think we've got the longer term trend reversal. I just want to see a little bit more confirmation before I really start to get excited. So now I want to switch over to the Uniswap USD pair, and I've got a lot of key levels here outlined. Again, similar levels to my last video. I'll leave a link to that in the comments section if you want to check that out. There's a lot of great lessons in there, but essentially we've got these key levels, this one ranging from $4.4 all the way up to $4.8, this next one from 6.4 to 6.8, and then this last resistance point that we're kind of rejecting off of in the short term from 9.5 all the way up to $10. So a lot of key levels. We can go back to 2021 and really just get some confluence around these points. We can see this level ranging from 4.3 all the way from $4.8 was key resistance. We had strong, consolidation below this, and then we came back above, we flipped it into support. And then we formed this new resistance level around, again, the $6.5 level. And then what we did was we came back above it, flipped it into support, we formed this new resistance point. So it's just the same structure, but repeating. And that's kind of what we're doing here, where, we had the resistance being held off this level, come back above it, hold it as support, continue higher. So that's kind of the thing I'm looking at here in the short term. It's a strong trend. We flipped this moving average. This is the EMA 34. Historically, this can be a very important moving average. We've rejected off of it several times, and now we're flipping into support. So overall, it looks very positive here on the daily. We're starting to approach the resistance around $9.50. So I think this could be some sort of turnaround point where we might get that correction I'm talking about on the Uniswap Bitcoin pair. But if not, if we start to reclaim this, hold it as support, we can look at some other levels that potentially that could happen. Most notably, this $14 area. This was sort of the triple bottom we had back in May, June, and July of 2021. Further bounces back here in December. One last bounce here, and overall, just a lot of key levels I'm looking at, support and resistance as well. Let's look over to the weekly here, and I think it has a similar story where we've got resistance here at this moving average coming down. We haven't really been above it since we were consolidating, holding it as support back in October of 2021. So that's kind of the things I'm looking out for in the short term. Again, any way you draw downward sloping resistance, we kind of have broken it, so the trend is starting to look a lot more positive. But similar to the Uniswap Bitcoin pair, I do want to see a little bit more sustainability behind this trend, where we come back down, print that higher low, and then from there we can start trending back up. This current rate of change, we're just going a little bit unsustainable. I do want to see eventually some sort of correction and then a turnaround and reversal. So that's what I'm looking out for on both the Uniswap USD pair and the Uniswap Bitcoin pair, and that is the end of it. And by the way, if you guys want to check out our sponsor for this channel, you can head over to ftx.us. This is where I buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency. You can use my referral code SNOWYCRYPTO and get a 5% discount on your trading fees. I will leave a link to that in the description below, and I definitely recommend checking them out. And thank you to FTX for being our partners. I hope you guys enjoyed the content, and as always, I will see you in the next one.